Have you ever wondered what really happened in the chilling case of Madeline Soto's disappearance and tragic death? Welcome to our in-depth investigation into the chilling case of Madeline Soto's disappearance and tragic death. In this comprehensive video, we'll delve deep into the events that shook the town of Kissimmee, Florida, and uncover the truth behind this heartbreaking case. Who was responsible for Madeline's fate? What drove her to vanish? And how did justice prevail in the end? Join us as we explore these questions and more, shedding light on the haunting mystery that captivated the nation. The disappearance Madeline Soto's story began like any other ordinary day in Kissimmee, Florida. A vibrant 13-year-old girl with dreams and aspirations. She vanished without a trace on the evening of February 26th. The news sent shockwaves through the small town as frantic search efforts commenced. Days turned into agonizing weeks as the community held on to hope, organizing search parties and prayer gatherings in a desperate attempt to find Madeline alive. Yet on March 1st, the devastating discovery was made. A volunteer group stumbled upon Madeline's lifeless body in a nearby forest. The once hopeful town of Kissimmee was now engulfed in grief and disbelief. The disappearance of Madeline Soto wasn't just a local tragedy. It became a haunting mystery that gripped the hearts of people far beyond the borders of Kissimmee. As the days passed without any sign of Madeline, the sense of despair in the community deepened. Candlelight vigils were held with tearful friends and family members pleading for her safe return. The disappearance dominated headlines, sparking widespread concern and prompting a massive search effort. Volunteers from all walks of life joined in, combing through neighborhoods, parks, and wooded areas, desperately hoping to find any clue that could lead to Madeline's whereabouts. Despite the tireless efforts of law enforcement and the community, the days stretched into weeks, and hope began to wane. The community's grief was palpable, as every passing day brought a new wave of anguish and uncertainty. Parents held their children a little closer, haunted by the thought of what could have happened to Madeline. Schools offered support services to students struggling to cope with the emotional toll of the disappearance. Businesses displayed missing posters in their windows, hoping to keep Madeline's face fresh in the minds of passers-by. But as the weeks turned into months, the initial fervor began to fade, replaced by a lingering sense of loss and unanswered questions. The suspect emerges. As the investigation into Madeline's disappearance intensified, suspicion quickly fell upon Stephan Stearns, Madeline's mother's boyfriend. Stearns, a 37-year-old man with a troubled past, became the prime suspect in the case. His proximity to Madeline at the time of her disappearance and disturbing materials found in his possession raised red flags. Stearns' prior arrests for domestic abuse and assault further fueled suspicions. Despite his denials, mounting evidence pointed to his involvement in Madeline's disappearance and tragic death. The community was left reeling, grappling with the unsettling realization that someone they thought they knew could be capable of such a heinous act. As the focus of the investigation narrowed on Stearns, tensions in the community reached a boiling point. Rumors swirled and whispers of suspicion followed Stearns wherever he went. Friends and neighbors who once trusted him now viewed him with skepticism and fear. Stearns' demeanor grew increasingly defensive as the weight of suspicion bore down upon him. Yet amidst the scrutiny and accusations, Stearns maintained his innocence, vehemently denying any involvement in Madeline's disappearance. But as the evidence against him continued to mount, the walls of his defense began to crumble. The revelations about Stearns sent shockwaves through the community, shattering the illusion of safety and security that once enveloped Kissimmee. Families questioned their neighbors, wondering if anyone else could be hiding a dark secret. Parents warned their children to be cautious, instructing them to avoid strangers and report anything suspicious. The once tight-knit community now found itself fractured, as suspicion and fear threatened to tear apart the bonds that once held them together. Unraveling the past, as investigators delved deeper into Madeline's life, they uncovered troubling details about her home environment and her relationship with Stearns. Madeline's phone records and personal writings painted a picture of a troubled family dynamic. Despite her outward brightness and charm, Madeline harbored deep-seated feelings of fear and insecurity. She confided in Stearns about her desire to escape her tumultuous home life, yet her cries for help seemingly went unanswered. The toxic dynamics of their relationship created a sense of desperation and hopelessness for Madeline, driving her to contemplate drastic measures to break free from her circumstances. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place and it became increasingly evident that Madeline's disappearance was not simply a random event, but a tragic culmination of underlying tensions and unresolved conflicts within her family. Madeline's friends and classmates painted a picture of a girl who, despite her struggles, radiated kindness and optimism. They described her as a loyal friend and a shoulder to lean on, always willing to lend an ear or offer a word of encouragement. But behind her bright smile lay a world of pain and uncertainty, hidden from the prying eyes of those around her. In private moments, Madeline wrestled with the weight of her family's dysfunction and the fear of what the future might hold. She longed for a sense of stability and security, yet found herself trapped in a cycle of turmoil and despair. As the investigation continued, Madeline's family struggled to come to terms with the harsh reality of their daughter's troubled life. Her mother, Jen, grappled with feelings of guilt and regret, wondering if there was more she could have done to protect her daughter. Stearns's true nature was laid bare for all to see, as his history of violence and manipulation came to light. The once loving relationship between Jen and Stearns now stood shattered, replaced by a sense of betrayal and disbelief. In the wake of Madeline's disappearance, the family found themselves adrift, searching for answers in a sea of uncertainty. Pursuit of justice. With Madeline's fate now known, the community demanded answers, and justice became their rallying cry. Through meticulous investigation and community support, law enforcement pieced together the events leading to Madeline's death. Surveillance footage provided critical insights, showing Stearns returning home with Madeline visible in his car, suggesting she was already deceased. Forensic analysis and expert testimony bolstered the case against Stearns, leaving little doubt of his guilt. The legal proceedings were emotionally taxing, but in the end, justice prevailed as Stearns was held accountable for Madeline's murder. The verdict brought a sense of closure to the community, allowing them to begin the healing process and move forward with their lives, though scars of the tragedy would forever remain etched in their memories. The trial of Stephan Stearns gripped the nation, as the details of Madeline's final moments were laid bare for all to see. Witnesses recounted harrowing testimony, describing the horror of discovering Madeline's lifeless body and the anguish of grappling with the reality of her untimely death. Tears flowed freely as loved ones shared memories of Madeline's infectious laughter and boundless energy, now forever silenced by the senseless act of violence that stole her from this world. Through it all, the community stood united, determined to see justice served and Madeline's memory honored. As the trial drew to a close, a sense of closure washed over the community, bringing with it a glimmer of hope for brighter days ahead. Though Madeline's absence would always be felt, the community found solace in knowing that her killer had been brought to justice. They vowed to honor her memory by advocating for change, working tirelessly to prevent similar tragedies from befalling others. In Madeline's name, they would continue to fight for a world where every child feels safe, loved, and protected. Impact and healing. The discovery of Madeline's body sent shockwaves through the community, prompting an outpouring of support and solidarity. Counseling services were made available, offering a lifeline to those struggling to cope with the trauma and grief of losing a beloved member of their community. Memorials and tributes were erected in Madeline's honor, ensuring that her memory would live on as a symbol of resilience and hope. Despite the trauma, the community rallied together, finding strength in unity and honoring Madeline's memory. Slowly but surely, the healing process began, as residents sought solace in one another's company and found comfort in the shared bond of their grief. As time passed, the wounds left by Madeline's disappearance began to heal, though the scars would forever remain. The community emerged stronger and more resilient, united by their shared experience and a common commitment to justice. Though Madeline's absence will always be felt, her memory served as a beacon of hope, inspiring others to live each day with kindness, compassion, and love. As we conclude our investigation into Madeline Soto's tragic story, we're reminded of the importance of seeking truth and finding closure in the face of darkness. Madeline's memory serves as a reminder to cherish our loved ones and strive for justice in all circumstances. Her story, though heartbreaking, has sparked conversations about the need for greater awareness of domestic violence and the importance of supporting vulnerable members of our communities. As we honor Madeline's life and legacy, let us commit ourselves to creating a world where every child feels safe, loved, and valued. Thank you for joining us on this journey as we honor Madeline's life and legacy.